Coming up next on Headline Humboldt, the winds of change are blowing in our community, and the feds are spending vast amounts of cash to capture that energy and make it work for California's grid. We'll look back at our coverage of the issue so far. Also, KEET was deployed across the Humboldt Bay region last weekend to chronicle the waterlogged contestants of the Kinetic Grand Championship. We'll see some highlights. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. From the top of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Falk. Thanks for joining us. With the allocation of $426 million in federal dollars to the Humboldt Bay Harbor District, the future set its sights on the North Coast. This is a region that has been poor and largely neglected after the fading of its two and now three most profitable industries. Timber has long been in decline due to a dearth in available trees, corporate greed, environmental good sense, and a rising realization that once these great and ancient redwood forests are gone, they won't be back in any recognizable form. Logging continues, but the scale and yield has diminished, and it isn't the economic mainstay it once was. The same goes for fishing. We still have a fleet, several stalwart families plying the ancient trade, but the numbers have declined, and the industry no longer generates the jobs and revenue it once did. Now, the once highly lucrative and extremely risky black market weed economy has collapsed in the face of legalization in California and a resulting spike in supply that flooded the market and sent prices plummeting. We've lost thousands of cultivators, and those that remain struggle to stay afloat. So how is Humboldt County going to face its economic future with three of its golden geese now gilded by a layer of fool's gold? Is wind power enough? What are the risks? What will be the impacts, and are we prepared? Even if we aren't, at this point, do we even have a choice? We'll review our coverage of the wind power debate so far and suss out some clues. But first, the news. KEET TV was out and about in Humboldt County over Memorial Day weekend, working hard to capture all the grit and glory of the Kinetic Grand Championship. As its participants risked life and limb on the highway, in the water, through the mud, and over sandy beaches, our crew faced a marathon of its own, and yes, it was all for the glory. Here's a highlight reel of last weekend's race and of the people who braved the elements to go fast and look good. As Humboldt Bay begins the long process of transformation to make itself into a premier hub of wind turbine manufacturing and use, we wanted to look back and consider the arguments and concerns expressed so far. Wind power and its technologies may well be the economic lifeline we've long been waiting for, but it comes with some costs and concerns that need to be heard and addressed by those in power. Here's what the experts have said so far. The announcement made by North Coast Congressman Jared Huffman and elsewhere by California Senator Alex Padilla was much cause for celebration throughout the maritime industry in Humboldt County, as it promises new life for a port and region that have struggled in recent decades to define the future. The official news was broken locally in front of the Fisherman's Memorial on Woodley Island this week, in front of an excited group of public servants and elected officials who have worked long and hard to see this happen. Over the last 2 decades, I've been witness to many discussions and debates about how Humboldt County can make the best use of its natural harbor to help support local industry while also protecting our natural resources. It's been a bone of contention and a source of some considerable debate over the past several years. Yet through the use and deployment of those federal dollars, what was once a port devoted to industries of extraction will now have the vital role of helping America achieve a renewable energy future that can supply the demands of our economy while not destroying the environment. It's an occasion for celebration, for seriousness of purpose, and for a lot of hard work. The grant for the Humboldt Bay Offshore Wind Port Project comes through the Department of Transportation's Freight and Highway Projects Grant Program, which itself receives substantial funding through an increase in the bipartisan infrastructure law. Congressman Jared Huffman told the crowd this week that this allocation of funds is the result of hard work and dedication from a lot of interested parties.
Today we've got, I believe, 426 million reasons to be grateful. The Federal Department of Transportation Infra Grant that we are celebrating today, to my knowledge, may be the biggest federal investment in this region in 50 years. It's a big, big deal. It's a game changer. I'm excited because I like the way it aligns with our community needs and the opportunities to do wonderful things for economic development, thousands of good paying jobs, union jobs right here in Humboldt County. Partnerships and opportunities for our tribes who are essential partners in this effort. A big step forward toward meeting our climate goals. And, you know, really, any way you look at it, I don't think anything like this has come along for Humboldt County in decades, certainly not since I came to be your congressman 12 years ago. It is just fantastic news. I want to commend the Harbor District for its recent decision to lean in on developing a green port, as green as it can possibly be. I think it's important that we do that to show the way to others who are going to follow with floating offshore wind and other clean energy projects. I want you to know that we're going to stick with it all the way across the finish line. This is going to be a wonderful, wonderful success for this community and really for the state of California and the whole country.
Joining us now in studio is President Greg Dale from the Harbor Board and Development Director Rob Holmland, also from the Harbor District. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, James.
So we'll start with you, Greg. If you were described in the Lost Coast Outpost as being emotional about this event, and you were, it was a passionate speech you delivered. Can you talk a little bit about the sense of accomplishment and what it means to reach this point after the process has unfolded over these many months?
It's been many years. I mean, everybody who knows me knows I'm an emotional guy anyways.
That's a good thing, I think. I'm not saying...
Sometimes, yeah sometimes. I think I've been working on the Bay my entire career. My family and I have worked out there, and one of the things that we've always cooperated with industry and the environment and growing shellfish and water quality.
Coast seafoods, right?
Coast seafoods, yeah. And I think all those things can work together. Yeah. But you have to communicate, you have to be careful. And so it's been a long time that we've been working to develop something in Humboldt Bay that is productive, yeah. All right, and provides jobs and income and economic activity for the Bay. Yeah. They don't all fit. You know, there are certain things that fit in our Bay, there are certain things that don't. And this has always been something that I thought was beneficial for our Bay. I think the fact that we don't need to generate energy using fossil fuels and to pollute our atmosphere and our oceans is a game changer. And Absolutely. If we can be a part of that in Humboldt Bay, it's going to be huge. Yeah. And I'm excited for that.
Okay. I got a bunch of follow-up questions, but let's turn to Rob here real quick. Before we started the show, you made a point about how people need to be clear about what the responsibilities are for the Harbor District in this. The Harbor District isn't going to be in the business of transmission of power or developing that off-site facility that will eventually be running that. Its responsibility is different, and so is the money for this grant. Can you explain that a little bit for us?
Yeah, sure. So the state and federal governments have decided that they want to transition away from fossil fuel-based power, and offshore wind is among the multiple things that both the state and federal governments are going to do. That requires a whole lot of different kinds of projects happening simultaneously. There has to be a change in our transmission infrastructure on how power moves from one place to another. Yeah. There has to be effectively power plants out in the ocean. and because this equipment, just the nature of it, it has to be manufactured in ports.
Yeah.
So the ports of California will play a really critical role in this, in the manufacturing of equipment. Humboldt Bay Harbor District's one of those ports. We're going to play a really important role. But our role is limited to the manufacturing facility in the port of Humboldt Bay. We're not directly involved in the transmission. We're not involved in the offshore power plants that are out in the ocean 30 miles offshore. Our role is big, but it's very specific and limited to the development project in Humboldt Bay to manufacture equipment.
Now, can I ask you real quick, why is Humboldt Bay considered an ideal spot for this kind of thing? I mean, obviously there were other ports to choose from, and Humboldt County got the nod. Can you explain to us a little bit of why Humboldt County is so centrally, pivotal?
Sure. I'll give you the short answer. You tell me if you want a longer answer.
Okay.
It has to do with the depth of our navigation channel coming into the bay, the width of the channel, and the fact that we don't have any bridges that block the bay. So San Francisco Bay, for instance, has the right channel depth and the right channel width, but the Golden Gate Bridge blocks the entrance. And so the equipment is too tall to move past the Golden Gate Bridge. You look up and down the coast of the west coast of the United States, and there are really only 5 ports that can do what we do, and we happen to be in the geographic center.
So that makes it good for all kinds of reasons. Now, does the depth issue have to do with what we've dredged, or are we going to have to continue to maintain that depth, or is that something it's ancillary, that we're at that depth without the dredging?
That's part of the longer answer. So our navigation channel, any navigation channel, is enacted by an act of Congress to be dredged down to a specific depth.
Yeah.
Our entrance is authorized to go down to a depth of 48 feet. So the U.S. Corps of Engineers has the authority to dredge our channel down to 48 feet deep at the entrance all year round.
Okay.
They only keep it at that depth depending on ship traffic. So right now we have limited ship traffic, so they dredge as needed. Sometimes our entrance fills up and it needs to be dredged, and it backs up.
Yeah.
In the future with offshore winds, they're already authorized. They'll just likely increase their dredge frequency, which will be good for any fisherman or anyone that comes and goes out of our bay. The bay entrance will be safer and dredged more frequently.
Okay. Now, Greg, one of the things that I mentioned at the start of the show and has been an ongoing fact for as long as I've been in this business, there's been a divide in Humboldt County, whether you want to call it political or social or whatever else, between people who kind of want to maintain Humboldt County as a natural draw for people who enjoy tourism and that sort of thing, and then people who want to have an industry like they used to have in the pulp mill and things out on Samoa, where there would be economic opportunity to go with the hunting and the fishing and everything else that people like to do. It seems to me that this may be the perfect marriage of both.
I would agree.
And so, can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, could this heal some of those divides that we've suffered through over the past generations?
I wouldn't guarantee that it would heal some of the divides. I mean, some of those divides are there for a lot of reasons that we may or may not be able to put our finger on. But I think that this activity can coexist with all the other activities that we have going on in the bay quite nicely. Yeah. And ultimately, anytime you have a project that's going to produce equipment of this size and transport things around in and out of the bay, you're going to have some impact.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. Can you delineate what some of those might be that people may not be expecting, or?
Well, the visual is going to be, they're going to be big. Yeah. You're going to see these. And that's something that we're all going to have to get used to, I think, for a while.
Now, there was a contrast that I noticed a few weeks ago. There was a bunch of celebration because there was a lot of money that was suddenly allocated to the Humboldt County area, $426 million, I think it was, for the development of the harbor so that it would support ultimately an industry that would be wind power generating off the coast of our, the Pacific here. The Yureks were there and they were excited as well, but there was a caveat that I sensed, and it came up later on at a workshop that you guys had hosted, where you're like, not so fast. There are issues here that we need to address before we, just give the green light and start handing out, gold medals or whatever. And I was struck by another thing I read that you had mentioned, where there was a history for the tribe that's gone on since basically, white settlers arrived in this country, where first it was gold, and then it was dams, then it was logs. And now, is it going to be wind? That's the question, right? I mean, absolutely. Are they going to make this an exploitative, an extractive kind of process where you know, the indigenous groups who live around there are ignored or at worst subjugated and abused just so that they can get that resource rather than making them a part overall of the technology, the wealth generation, all of that. So how do you feel like it went? Was that message heard? And how can you as a community make sure that you are, you know, a respected member of the process as it unfolds?
The biggest question we're asking ourselves right now as tribal leaders and tribal people is, have we learned our lessons? Have we learned from the mistakes of our past? And whether you're talking about the gold rush, logging industry, or commercial fishing, have we developed far enough that we can see a project for what it is and not push forward for progress sake? So many times in our history, we have been told.
That is a deep flaw in our pushing forward for projects. That's just what
absolutely.
we do almost.
It's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we do. We lean into it. We swing the pendulum the other way. And what we're trying to convey and what we want federal regulators and the general public to understand is we need to take a balanced approach. We have to look at this holistically and look at it for what it is. It's an industry coming into our area. It's simply marking it with a green stamp to go ahead because we're calling it renewable isn't the right path. That's the same path that we've been on before. We have to look at this in a balanced, holistic approach and ensuring that every step of the way that it's truly going to be beneficial for not only our community, but the globe. The last thing we want to do is make the crisis worse by trying to push a project that may not be the golden egg that we think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like, I mean, the tenor I got from the workshop that you guys held was that you don't feel like you've been involved enough up to this point. What would to your mind, what would an appropriate process look like from First Nation status? Like, how should you have been included, and how might that change in the future? Is there a way?
I think that the easy answer to this is we've already had this discussion on a national level, and it's the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People. Right? It is outlined very clearly on how you engage with First Nations, Indigenous, Native American people before you begin the process. I think we've seen vast improvements from the Bureau of Ocean and Energy Management on their consultation process from where they started. But let's be honest, where they started was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad hole. So even the improvements were done, there's still a need to improve what we've done. I think on the other side is we have to look at the system as a whole as well, as far as how corporations work within the American system, and ensuring that we are both represented on the federal side for consultation, but also on the private side as well, ensuring that the companies who are coming in here and looking to develop these projects are also taking responsibility and engaging with us in a meaningful way.
It seems like throughout American history, there's always been, human rights are important, or the native tribes should be protected, but this other thing is really, really important. Like, you talk about manifest destiny, and people needed places to live, or they needed jobs, they needed something along those lines. Now it's like, we need clean energy. We need to be able to have, get off of fossil fuels and whatnot. But to blindly go forward, like you said, progress for progress's sake, without judging or accurately getting a sense of what the repercussions will be downstream, again, I think it could be problematic. Both the Yurok tribe and the Bear River Band of the Ronaville Rancheria in recent weeks have come out in opposition to the massive wind power project planned off the Humboldt County coast. The Humboldt Bay Harbor Conservation and Recreation District was awarded $426 million earlier this year to develop the land facilities on the Samoa Peninsula to make such an industry possible. While celebrated by some as a huge economic boost for the region, both tribes say not enough is known about the potential environmental impacts, and that such development could significantly damage sacred cultural sites. Quote, "It is the opinion of the Bear River Tribal Council that the effects of these offshore wind projects will be disastrous to the cultural and natural resources of all native territories in the area, and we seek unity amongst tribes to protect these things which we have been the protectors of since time immemorial," the Bear River Band said in a press release. In January, the Yurok tribe hosted a two-day offshore wind summit in Eureka. The summit featured presentations from West and East Coast tribal leaders, local and state and federal officials, and industry representatives. In part, the Tribal Council organized the meeting to hear from tribes on the East Coast where the offshore wind industry is further along in the development process. The East Coast tribes voiced grave concerns about developers' attempts to subvert laws that protect tribal lands and spiritual sites. Last month, the National Congress of American Indians, the largest national organization of tribal governments, issued a resolution asking the Biden administration to suspend all scoping and permitting of offshore wind projects until the completion of a comprehensive and transparent procedure adequately protecting tribal, environmental, and sovereign interests is developed and implemented. The Yurok Tribal Council has said it will soon issue a resolution on the tribal governing body's opposition to the proposed offshore wind projects in Yurok ancestral lands. Joining us now in the studio is Ken Bates from the California Fishermen's Resiliency Association. Thanks, Ken, for coming in.
James, thank you for allowing me to come in and get the opportunity to speak.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You know what you're talking about, and you are wired in, so thank you.
Yeah.
We're here mostly to talk about wind power this time around. We've had you on the show before. We've had you on a podcast. I enjoy every conversation we have.
Yeah.
But you've basically, sounds like, been dedicating the last several years of your life, the last year most intensively, to the wind power situation, and you're kind of a big deal in this process. You're on a 7-member working group. But I'll let you explain some of that. What's going on with the wind power project, and what's the perspective of the industry?
Yeah, just for people that don't know, Northern California has a really, really windy ocean. And the windiest areas on the ocean, especially on East Coast, would be the eastern side of the Pacific, or West Coast. Those are areas that generally have the highest production as far as fish and plankton and whales and all the just sea life. The wind is also the area that the wind power companies are looking at to site these various projects.
So that the richest parts of the ocean?
Yeah, that's correct. They just happen to overlap. Recently, we've been involved for about 2 or 3 years working with the California Energy Commission. The California Energy Commission is in the process of trying to determine what they refer to as sea space. And so sea space is an area that they think that they could use to lease out for additional wind power sites. So right now, where we are today, right this second, there are 5 leases in California. There's 3 in Central California, and then there's 2 off of Eureka. RWE Renewables and Vineyard Wind have those 2 lease sites. Those lease sites total about 600 square miles, all on fishing grounds.
Okay.
If the state is successful in converting over to a wind power, up to about, I think their goal is to have a big chunk of wind power by 2045. That's going to take an additional 4,000 square miles of fishing grounds. And most of that area will be north of Point Arena. And for your viewers that don't know where Point Arena is, it's 30 miles south of the town of Mendocino.
So, I mean, is it safe to say that what we're looking at now, or what's proposed now, is sort of a pilot project, but if it gets going and if this continues in that direction, it's going to expand a lot?
Yeah, and one of the things, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that fishermen's associations have been asking both the state and the federal governments is that these wind power projects in California right now be pilot projects, that they not go ahead and put out other lease areas in Oregon or Washington or California until the developers have actually had a chance to see if this stuff works, to give it a shot,
Yeah.
The problem with the sea space areas is that for floating offshore wind, they have to, even if it's quite deep, they have to have a bottom that's stable and smooth. They have to stay out of rocky areas. They can't be around canyons or big ocean, sub-ocean cliffs, things like that. Additionally, as these projects go down, we expect to lose another 1,000 square miles just to cable lanes, and that's the submarine cables that will export the electricity from the site to the beach. Right now there's talk about a potential cable from southern Oregon clear down to Monterey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can't fish over those, or you can't fish. How does that affect you?
Yeah. So the way that generally works, there's a little bit. There's a little bit of confusion. So cable installers and cable companies would ask fishermen with bottom contact gear, that could be longline gear, a trawler, crab gear. They ask that they give the cable route a half-mile berth. And that's because even though when the cables are installed and buried, there's a good chance that over time some of them will be subject to scouring and they'll be exposed.
Yeah.
So they'll ask you that that you stay that far offshore, and nobody wants to lose their gear to a cable, you know. And
That's a snag hazard.
It's a
right?
snag hazard, but even
Yeah.
worse than that is that this country relies on submarine cables for all of its businesses and stuff. So that's one of the things there. Getting back to the loss of fishing grounds, the part of the concern is that if you were to take a map of California and a black felt pen and you colored in all the areas that were closed for one reason or another, Department of Defense, marine protected areas, national marine sanctuaries, cable lanes, all these different things that there's closures. Most of California's nearshore ocean would be black.
Yeah.
So when we lose these areas to fish in, what ends up happening is that everybody that's left fishing has to move to a different area. Yeah. And so there's a concern over long-term concentration of effort. There's a concern, nobody's going to actually going to be able to go into these, fishermen don't think that fishermen will be able to go in and work in these arrays of wind power turbines. Mm-hmm. They're talking about 200 turbines off the coast here. So those are kind of some of the things that we're concerned with. But the other thing is that California's got the most restrictive fishing regulations kind of in the world, which is why we have fish and why we can go catch fish and why we can sell those fish. And so when we lose fishing grounds, what we are really losing is the ability to sustainably manage and harvest that fish in those areas. So ultimately the people that will lose out the most, it's not going to be fishermen, but it's going to be the consumer, because that fish is going to come from somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it's a huge economic opportunity, that's for sure. I know Brian has said that there'll be lots of construction-related jobs. There's opportunity for people in the trades. We don't have a recent history, a lot of folks in the organized labor community really participating in the job market here as much. So this is an opportunity for new trades and more trades to be located here and to train young people to do that type of skilled work. I also think there's an opportunity with some of the auxiliary projects, like when it comes to the transmission infrastructure. We're slated to have some significant upgrades to both substations and transmission lines that will increase our energy reliability in this area as well. So that's all, I think there are some auxiliary benefits that will really help us. And as you mentioned earlier, we really do need to pay attention to the potential impacts of these projects and look to mitigate those to the extent possible. And I am encouraged to see that this framework of having community benefits agreements and some tribal community benefits agreements is something that's come out with other wind power projects and other energy projects. So I'm encouraged to see that.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Stay tuned. Stay informed.